what's up, Mike? Quick demo video for you for your Jedi Killer by Phoenix Props. As some of you noticed, I've got a new camera. I'm trying to get used to it, so I'll try my best to try to get this focused up. You know, when I do stuff like this, hopefully that focuses up as we're walking through this guy, okay? I've installed this with the Proffie V2. It's got CCSabers LED pixels here in the middle for your main PCB. Right, and it's got a removable chassis by Robert Sotomayor over at Soroc Sabers. That's my buddy over there. He designed a chassis that's removable. It enables you to have a removable battery, and then also a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. I was able to shove in this guy, right? So that is a very tall order for this Saber. I've seen some other chassis called for just have a static battery with a recharge port and a 24mm speaker. This sounds really good. There's just a lot of things that you need to pay attention to in this type of setup, right? So I did go ahead and put your wires on here, obviously. I've got an accent pixel both on the top of the chamber and on the bottom. You'll be able to see that better when I light it up. What else did I do? This is the prototype Saber from Phoenix Props. So this is what they based their run off of, and they did change a few things. Two of the main things that I noticed that were different about this guy was first this shroud right here. There's a shroud that goes over the top of this piece right here. This shroud on the prototype actually comes off if you do it right. On the two other Jedi Killers that I've installed from the actual run, this guy does not come off. You have to twist it and pull it out of the way, but it stays attached to the top. So that was one thing. Second thing with the buttons. So it's a 2-button setup or a 2-switch setup, right? You've got your main activation switch right here, which is the blue guy right here, and then your bottom auxiliary down here, right? But these two switches on the prototype are hard plastic. The pillbox setup on the actual run was like a softer rubberized material. I had to do a lot of work and hand filing and sanding to these two switches in order to get them to function properly inside the switch box. This probably took over an hour of fine-tuning these switches to get them to work because they fit in the switch box originally, but there wasn't any play. So if I were to press down on the switch, it would stay engaged because it gets stuck there. But I finally got it to where I just got it to where I like it. If you can hear that, that's your activation. That's your auxiliary, so they're working fine now. To get to your chassis, this is very important, right? Because it's a very unique setup. The bottom of this wire here, I just kind of put it in there, so that just comes out like that. And then we're going to want to unscrew this guy. We'll unscrew the pommel cap. Take this off without dropping it. Now, there's two separate pieces in here. There's this red piece that you could see right there, and then it's attached to a little black piece in there too. You need to unscrew the main black piece, and if you're not careful, when you put your finger in there to start unscrewing it, you'll just unscrew that red piece right there. That's not what we want to do. We want to unscrew all this as one unit. It only catches about a thread, right? So what you want to do is that I just take my ring finger, I go all the way in here as much as I can go, try to grab onto the side, and I twist. You might want to push a little bit forward as you're twisting too, because all those pins are engaged. So once I got that twisted off, it looks just like that. You know, all that came out as one piece. Now you can take this claw piece and pull it off, and it comes out just like that. And all that's one piece right there. Right, and we set this off to the side. Now you can see your speaker in there. So what you want to do is just come over here with your hand. Make sure you don't stab yourself with this claw, right? But you want to just kind of pop it in your hand a few times, and your chassis will come out just like this. And we'll set this off to the side. And we'll talk about your chassis. So you can see your Proffie board right there. Hopefully that's focusing for you. Right? You got your Proffie board, your 14-pin connectors right here. It's a removable battery system, so this is where your battery goes. Spring side is over here. Spring sides are negative by your speaker. And then of course you got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker right here. your board is E6000 down onto the shelf. I put a little bit of E6000 on the sides because I didn't want this thing popping up on you. This is an extremely tight cram food job. This is one of the most cram food chassis I've ever had to do, right? And this is my third one now. Trying so much to get that to focus, man. As time goes on, I'll get better with the camera, so if it's not focusing, I apologize. Try my best, right? But there's just no room in this guy, and it's just the way that the Saber's set up. You know, just like to say kudos to Rob for designing this chassis, but this is one of those things that's just not for the faint of heart. So got it all in there. got the board E6000 down in the shelf. I got all the sound fonts on there that you sent me, so they're good to go. You got your 14 pins here, and those line up. If you'll be able to see that, there's a PCB in there, right? And that's what they make contact with. And in order to fit this, there were some trade-offs, right? So if you want a removable battery, you know, and you want a 28mm speaker, I had to take away some of the threads in the handle. So I made a spacer to put there. If you can see that, there's a spacer right there that I 3D printed exactly where I needed that handle to be backed up, and that stays right there. And then I went ahead and I adhesed everything down. So you won't have to worry about any alignment issues. I went ahead and I did that for you. But it's just the nature of this setup, right? But it sounds amazing. I think you'll like it. We'll go ahead and we'll throw a battery in it. The battery is extremely tight fit into the chassis. I'm not exactly sure what sound font I'm on right now because I went through several while I was testing this, but we'll cycle through them, right? So once you get that battery in there, you can just carefully put it all the way into the handle. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can twist it any way, but these pins go first. Obviously, I gave you motion controls. So we're going to throw this in the handle. Put that in there as far as it goes. It's not going to look like there's any threads to catch this pommel piece, but there is about a thread's worth to catch. Now this only goes on one way because there is an indentation right here in this piece that's for this claw sticking out. So you want to put that on just a little bit. Just get it started. You don't have to push it on all the way. We get it on about that far. Now we have to screw this piece back on, and I also do that with my ring finger. So it's what's actually pushing up against the chassis and engaging all those 14 pins. So you're going to have to put some pressure forward as you try to screw it on. Let's see if I can do it on camera. And you just got to be patient with this part. It has tripped up people in the past. So I've got it now, it's locked in, right? It grabbed about a thread, that's all it needed to do. Everything's locked in. So I'm coming back over here and I'm gonna screw this pommel cap back on. We'll screw this back on. Tighten that up. And I'll just take the end of the wire and I'll tuck it in this caged piece so it's nice and out of the way. Now you got your crystal chamber going, hopefully that's focusing. You got your LEDs lighting up. Sounds super nice. Twist off. If we didn't want to do that, we could come over here and tap the top activation. Good to go there, right? Everything's looking good there. We come down, the bottom button right here is auxiliary. See if I can do that with one hand while I get the camera to focus. And then we just tap it to turn it off. Just like that. And then to get to each of your sound tracks on your sound fonts, hold down your power for a second and let go. Just hold down the power for a second and let go. So I actually went in and I put a different blade retention in. Your original blade retention screw was about right here, but that is it's just above the PCB, like the main PCB. It's not going to hold a blade very well. So I went back in and I put an 832 right up here towards the tip so that you can hold your blade a lot better, right? And this takes a 1-inch diameter blade. So, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to use your blade retention because this thing is super tight, but just know that it's there in case you need it, right? Battle mode. So if you tap the blade, it'll initiate blade lock up until you pull away from it, or you can hit the saber. Same thing right here. It's on the tip of my blade because I've got a 2-foot test blade, but on your full length blade, it'll be right in the middle of your blade. Twist off. And then we'll just go to the next one.
Maybe I should practice some more first.
Take it. It's yours. Ignite the blade.
Now, if you wanted to change color, you just hold down your power and hit your auxiliary. Sorry, hold down your auxiliary and hit your power. And you can just twist the saber until you find a color that you like. Now we've got that. And then hit power when you find the color that you like. And now we've got a yellow blade. I did wire your crystal chamber in line with your main blade. It's something that I need to do on these setups that have a removable chassis. I cannot wire that independently because I don't have enough pads on that 14-pin PCB set that I use from Smuggler's Outpost. So chamber will match the blade. You can see that, right? Don't want to hit mute. I accidentally did that. So nice unstable blade for Kylo. Unstable crystal chamber. This is more of an audio flicker blade. Same with your crystal chamber. Oops. It's more of like a rage. I think this is the Rage Unstable. Looked really cool in the chamber. Right. But you can see everything's working like it should. Do a couple more. You have a bunch on here. This is the light unstable, so I gave you a blue unstable blade. Sorry. Right? Let's do another one. Keep double tapping that button. Sorry. This thing sounds gnarly, so we'll stop there, and then we'll take the blade out, and we'll just go through taking the battery out. So to get to the battery, we'll just do the same thing we did when we put it in. We just want to unscrew this guy. Since you have motion controls, when you go to take this chassis out, it might go off on you, no big deal. You can just take the battery out, or you can twist off the chassis if you want to turn the power off. I'll just move this wire out of my way, come in here with my ring finger. I don't know what finger it will be for you, but because I have to get all the way in there and get this piece right here past the red piece. You can't, it's very easy to unscrew the red piece, but that's not going to do anything for you. You need to get past that little red greebly and to the other side, right? That's closest to your speaker. Just like that. And then pull this guy out. And here's your chassis. And then we can come over here from the positive side and pull it right out with our fingers. This battery comes right out, although it's tight in the chassis, because the inside of the hilt is actually what holds the battery in place and keeps it there, not outside of the chassis so much. That's the main design of this guy, right? So now that we've got that, we'll go ahead and put it back in the Saber for safekeeping. And that's pretty much your Saber. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, I'll get this out in the mail to you Monday morning. I don't know if you'll have any questions. I know there's quite a bit of stuff going on with this Saber. It is easy to mess up. So I'm hoping that all this made sense to you. And if it didn't, very happy to go over it with you again privately to make sure that you understand what's going on with this guy. All right, let me know. All right, thanks.